Welcome back to your reading with Wise Oracle of the Lights 1111. This isn't just a regular reading, whereas I would normally use the cards. I have done a channel reading beforehand without using cards, and this one's directed straight to Divine Feminine, which a lot of my readings are, but this is a particular Divine Feminine who's more of an Ascendant Master type. And I must use the word she, but we already know, at least some of us do, understand that the masculine and feminine energies exist within each and every one of us. So whereas I may say a she, this could very well be a he. It's a rare thing, and especially in today's world, but because a lot of men refuse to acknowledge the fact that they even have feminine energy. So it's rare. This particular Divine Feminine Ascendant Master, it would be rare for it to be a man. I feel like predominantly it would be a female. But this is more like messages of her speaking through me back to herself, basically. So, with that being said, let's get into this reading, shall we? And do please know that I do not charge for readings. I don't do personal readings. I feel like collective readings get pretty personal enough that I would rather not do a personal reading. Today is Saturday. It's a little after 11:30 in the morning, or in the afternoon. This is going to be maybe a bit of a hard message for Divine Feminine, because this is stuff that Divine Feminine isn't out there on a megaphone speaking to the world about. This is the things that she holds within herself, which is why it's her, you, speaking through me back to yourself. Divine Feminine is a beautiful light. She is mostly a happy energy. When she walks into a room, she lights up the room, and it's a beautiful thing. But she's also empathic. So whereas she's mostly showing her light, she is being approached by jealous, envious, catty, trifling. I don't want to keep getting uglier with the words, but it kind of gets that way. And there are people that will lie through their teeth and make themselves appear to be better than Divine Feminine. And they try to mimic Divine Feminine, only to understand that Divine Feminine is like this naturally. This comes to her naturally. This is something she wakes up in, this type of energy, this light of an energy. I don't know how to explain it. You're not a Divine Feminine that needs a cup of coffee in the morning to get herself going. You're not the type of person that be mad at one person and take it out on everyone else. You give the energy back where it belongs. That's what makes you an empath. Someone comes to you and gives you this crazy attitude. You're not showing your light. You bring out the opposite side of that, but you're giving it back to them. And it may take you a minute to shake it off, but you're right back into that light. But there's a lot of things that Divine Feminine doesn't, because she feels like a burden, like she's imposing, and she doesn't want to rock the boat. And even with everything she's gone through, she still has a conscience, she still has a heart, she still has the light. And I'm not saying Divine Feminine is doing anything wrong, because she's not. but she's to a point where like, this divine feminine in her past was a push around, like people pleaser, and really never spoke her mind and never really told people where to get off at. But she's like this now, and it's hard to explain. And this is a lot of the reason why Divine Feminine keeps a lot of this to herself, because she understands that not everyone is like her. Not everyone's going to see it the way that she sees it. She doesn't give up. But she's hurt. And I don't want to say she's broken, but in a sense she's broken. She's broken. She doesn't trust. She wants to love. She wants it more than anything. She wants to give anyone and everyone the benefit of the doubt and believe that there is that light in every one of us, which there is. There is that light. That light is within all of us, just like the masculine and feminine energies are within us individually, each and every one of us. So is that light, and so is the dark. The light and the dark exist within us each, just like masculine and feminine energy. And Divine Feminine gets that. And her dark side she doesn't want, because her dark side can get pretty dark, and she knows that. But for Divine Feminine, understanding how strong she is, she just, and I don't want to use vulgar language, but she's not taking shit, and she'll let people get away with certain things to an extent, and then it'll get to a point where if she doesn't say anything, they keep going at it. They keep going. They keep going. And they think they have a right to say anything to you when you stand up for yourself, Divine Feminine, even this day. But just because you had the enlightenment, Divine Feminine, doesn't mean they have. So whereas you might want to give them their same energy back, that's not going to help the situation. It's not. It's not. It's only going to make you get into an energy that you're not comfortable with. You know this. You don't like the dark side of yourself. You admit it. You're not afraid to deny it. You understand that we all have the shadow side. Just like anybody else, you have a shadow side too, but you've accepted it. There are people out there who want to sit there and say that they're a particular way, and they're lying about it. Talk about how they're the light. They're woke. You know, this, or they do their job, or they pay their bills, and you know, and they're doing what they're supposed to do. But Divine Feminine knows better than that, because you see things that other people are not seeing. So whereas a lot of people have a lot of friends, Divine Feminine doesn't have, if she has even one friend. I mean, she might have people that she associates with, but she doesn't have friends. She doesn't. I don't think Divine Feminine really ever actually had friends. She might have thought she had friends, but she doesn't really have friends. Because your energy, Divine Feminine, is rare. And you're a Divine Feminine Ascended Master, where there's just Divine Feminine who haven't really... They're not Ascended Masters. They're not. They're still living in this materialistic world, okay? Divine Feminine doesn't live like that. She doesn't. Whereas some people might think, you know, a big old house, and I'm sure it's nice to have things like that. But if that's the only thing they're focused on, that's... Divine Feminine's not focused on things like that. She's focused on spirituality. She's focused on a connection, a spiritual connection. She's not looking at her friends or any like if she's looking in the direction of a possible relationship, she's not looking at him because he's got money. She's not looking at him for anything like that. She's looking at the love, the compassion, the how are you gonna fight for me? Are you just gonna give up? Or it's Divine Feminine doesn't deserve to have to be asking these questions. I don't think Divine Feminine's ever actually had this kind of connection with anybody. This is what makes it hard for her to trust. And I really, y'all, I'm like in this reading, and I'm not really wanting to do this reading. I'm not, because I feel like Divine Feminine doesn't, she's like, she keeps her stuff to herself. She doesn't want the whole world to know about this. But even with us doing this reading right here, it's not that the whole world isn't going to find out about you, Divine Feminine. You're good. No one is. You don't want to have to tell people how to treat you. You just want them to know, and that's what makes them divine, because they already know. You wouldn't have to draw a picture for these people. They would know. And then, let's say, for example, you have someone that you're like, well, yeah, they're helping me and I'm helping them, and it's going, we're on the same page here. And then you start to see these toxic traits and you bring it to their attention, and then they're like, how dare you? Now you're the worst person in the world, this, that, and another. And how dare they? How dare they when they know what they're doing to you, Divine Feminine? They know what they're doing to you, and you know. And the fact of the matter is, you brought it to their attention. They're looking at you like you're a problem. Divine Feminine isn't toxic. She's not drinking. She's not doing drugs. She's not. And if she's marijuana type stuff, it's a very rare thing for her. She's not out there spending her money on just drugs. She's taking care of her bills, and she's doing this by herself. She don't have mama daddy money. She don't have grandparent money. She don't have inheritance. She don't have none of this, y'all. Divine Feminine has been doing this on her own for a very long time. And there'll be people that had come into her life and acting like they've helped, and they've not actually helped. If they've helped, Divine Feminine wouldn't be where she's at right now. This would have happened a long time ago if they so much helped her in her life and did so many favors for her. Why is she at the point at this point? And it should have happened a long time ago. If you were always there for me, then where you at now? Oh, because I'm dropped off the face of the earth to you? I don't call you, I don't text you. Well, maybe that's because I'm giving you your energy back. Maybe that's because you think that, well, if Divine Feminine's not calling me, then I'm not going to call her. And they were never doing it in the first place. And you always make the first move. You always, and I don't want to say begged or nothing like that, but you understand this love, which is crazy to me because you've never had this kind of love. You haven't. Like, you didn't get this kind of love from your mother. When you're first born into a family, and you got supposed to have mom, and your mom and dad was probably there. Like, your mom and dad didn't give you up, or they didn't disappear and you end up with your grandparents. This is not what happened with Divine Feminine. Divine Feminine had both mom and dad right to hell there, but none of them, neither one of them, gave this child that kind of love. The nurturing kind of unconditional kind of love. You was always fighting for this, and you fought for this, and you fought for this, and you fought for this, until one day you just gave up. and started doing it for yourself. And now those people that used to be in your life are probably looking back at you right now, Divine Feminine, and like, well, what's going on with Divine Feminine? And they're not specifically saying Divine Feminine, they're just saying what's going on with her, what's going on with that one, why haven't, this, then they're trying to search you in social media, look at your, if you have Facebook, Instagram, whatever the case, and it's public, whatever you might have, they're just trying they are trying to get what they can find out about you. And you might have gotten messages, you might have responded to a couple of them, and you can hear it. And then it's not that you're actually speaking to them. It might be even through just a text message or a message off of a social media account. But you read in between the lines. And let's say, for example, you haven't heard from someone, and I'm not going to say particulars, just in general. You haven't heard from this person in a couple of years. And then all of a sudden your birthday rolls around and they think they can just text you happy birthday and tell you that they love you. What? And you're like, okay. And you'll just say thank you. And then there might be a little bit of a conversation, and you might give them just a little bit to make them, and then you'll hear what they have to say, and they'll never come to you and be like, look, I know what I did, I know what happened, and they'll make it like you had any part in what they did, and it was because of you that they did what they did, and not what they did made you respond the way you did, and you would chase after it for a while. You don't do that no more. You'll drop off the face of the earth on these people, and you don't even care. You don't bat an eyelash anymore, and they're like, what's going on with her? What she's doing? And you're not doing anything, Divine Feminine. You're just being you, and you're not. I mean, you've actually picked yourself up from here and moved over here, far away from these people, and they're still finding a way to come and look at you and see what you're doing, because they're nosy people, and it's like a karma, especially if they're having a shit life, and you don't exactly have the life of luxury, but you're smiling through it, you're happy through it. Of course, like I said, somebody cross your boundaries, you turn in it. Some people might think you're bipolar, even you might think you're bipolar, because you'll be this really happy person, then somebody will cross your boundary, and then you're like snapped, and you look crazy. You do. You look like crazy psycho, Divine Feminine. You know you're not, but that's what these people are looking at you like when you pop off on somebody, and they think you just, oh, you did that? Well, I'll like you tomorrow. And you're not like that. You're not like that. You're not, you can forgive, but when you forgive, you forget. And if you have a coworker that you just have to go back and work with, you know how that's going to go. And you're still going to smile no matter what. You're still going to be a happy person. But to that person that's disrespecting you, you'll keep it cordial. You'll keep it mutual. You got to work with this person. It's going to be what it is. So you'll say what you have to say, and the next day you'll be okay. But let that person cross you again. It's like the cycle starting over and over. And because you standing up for yourself, if this person is coming back to cross your boundaries again, the next cycle is going to be worse on their part. Because you can forgive and forget, but you're not going to be like, oh, well, yeah, I know. You're not. You're gonna have a stone cold kind of energy toward that one person, but when you're going around the rest of the world, it's not like that. It just depends on that person who's giving you this energy. And they think that because they're giving you this toxic energy that you're supposed to come at them with this light. And that's the problem with some of these people who see spirituality as peace and love and light. And now I'm gonna you up. Don't come at me like that because I'm peace, love, and light. And I've said this before and I've heard this. It's not my saying, but it's something that sticks with me ever since I've heard it. Yeah, I'm peace, love, and light, but I'll peace, love, and light your house on fire if it's necessary. Don't mess with me. You'll find out that I'm not the one. I'm not the one. And that's how you come off when you get disrespected. You don't care who it is. You don't care. You literally don't care. But I can't say but because I feel like it's a good thing for you, Divine Feminine. I don't think you're doing anything wrong because you don't go at people with that type of energy on a regular. Like, that's not just who you are. Who you are, Divine Feminine, is the light, your love, your peace, your happiness. You are. But you're not going to be disrespected. You're not going to disrespect anybody, and you expect to not be disrespected. You've come a long way, Divine Feminine. You have to give yourself some credit, and just, I feel like Divine Feminine's being really negative with herself and thinking that she's doing things wrong, and she's not. You're not doing anything wrong, Divine Feminine. You're not. Keep standing up for yourself. Now, don't go to the point where you're actually in a physical kind of thing. Don't do that, because you know, Divine Feminine, that your words cut like a knife. You don't have to do anything but use your mouth, and it makes people's heads spin just by what you say. And sometimes you don't even have to do that. You just give them a look, because you are your expressions are always in a happy kind of thing, and then when that person, your whole expression, you look bipolar. You look crazy to some of these people. I'm telling you, Divine Feminine, they don't know what to make of you. They're jealous, envious, they're intimidated, and they'll sit there and act like they're coming at you, but do they really? Do they really? No, they don't. They try to mimic you, Divine Feminine, and they can't do that. If they want to mimic you, they're going to have to keep this on a daily. Wake up like this, go to bed like this, wake up like this, go to bed like this. This is supposed to be a constant thing. And they can't hold that energy. You go to work, you're working, you have work ethic, and they try to keep up with that, and then they get tired of it. And then the next few minutes are, I'm exhausted. I don't know how they're thinking like this. I don't know how she continuously keeps this energy. What she's on, she must be on something. Yeah, she's got the light. If you're an ascended master and you've ascended to higher dimensions, you have an extra amount of energy, which gives you this energy because you're an ascended master. You've ascended many, many times, and they have not. This is why they're like, I hate my life. I don't want to work. I want to get paid and don't really do the work. And then they're looking at you and getting a hateful vibe towards you because you can do it and they cannot. No matter how much they try to compare themselves to you, they can't do this, Divine Feminine. They're not going to. They're not. Even the ones who actually might go to work and do their job, they've got this energy about them that's depleted. You know what I mean when I say this, Divine Feminine. You know, because you don't have this depleted energy. You can get up in the morning time and face the day. Whereas some people will get up in the morning time and they're like, I need a cup of coffee. I can't go to work. I'm tired. I'm so sick of this. You don't have that energy. You don't. You never really did. Never really. You've always had this, a lot of energy. I don't know how else to explain it. Like, you've got a lot of energy naturally. And they hate that. You probably don't wear a whole bunch of makeup if you wear any makeup at all. You probably don't have to walk around with your ass cheeks or your boobs hanging out to get any kind of attention. And the attention that you do get, you don't really, you notice it, but you don't. And I'm talking about, like, if you're a divine feminine who's actually a female and you have guys approaching you, you're not looking at it like you're a vain person, and you're like, you're not. You don't entertain it because you want that person to put in more of an effort than just, hey, how you doing? Can I exchange phone numbers? Can we talk? Because they're not doing nothing. They're not doing nothing. They might look at you from afar and they don't do nothing. They don't do nothing. So you're like, what, am I supposed to approach you? When did this happen? Your divine masculine isn't going to make you approach him. He's coming to you. So don't sit here and think that you have to go toward him. He's going to come to you. If he's divine masculine and ascended master like you are, then he's going to walk to you. He's going to put knees to chest and chase after you because you are what makes him divine masculine. Without divine feminine, without his empress, he cannot be divine masculine. He could not be emperor. He has to have his empress in order to be an emperor. Otherwise, he's just a man. Just a man. That's just the way it is. You've chased enough divine feminine. You're not chasing. You're not going to. You're not. And even if you looking at anybody in this moment and thinking, I see you from afar, divine masculine, I see you. I see you watching me, but you ain't doing nothing. And do I want to call him a divine masculine if he's not doing nothing? I don't know. Maybe he's just a masculine at this point. Because like I said, I guess he could be divine masculine. Maybe there could be a masculine out there who stays single and doesn't go bouncing around from female to female. Maybe that's possible. Maybe he don't have a whole bunch of kids. Maybe that's possible. I mean, look at you, divine feminine. Your phone's not blowing up with all kinds of random dudes. You don't have baby daddies running around here. You don't even have kids. If you have one, maybe, but I feel like this is not the case for the particular divine feminine. She don't have no kids. She don't got baby daddies running around here. She don't got child support. She don't have help. And a lot of females get in a relationship and get themselves pregnant just to keep this man's money flowing into her and using it as an excuse for the kid. Now he's got to marry her because he got her pregnant. That's the way this world thinks. When all he has to do is take care of his kid, why he got to marry you? But this is what happens. This is exactly what happens when a guy gets her pregnant. Oh my God, we got to marry her. But you could see, and when I say divine masculine, y'all, I don't mean like just one, because it's infinite, and there's many people walking the planet. There's many men, there's many women, there's many divine masculine, there's many divine feminine, there's many masculine, there's many feminine, there's many toxic masculines, there's many toxic feminines. But there's a rare divine feminine ascended master, just like there's a rare divine masculine ascended master. They're both divine. One's feminine, one's masculine, and then they're both ascended masters. So when divine masculine ascended master comes together with this one, they become a power couple. Could you imagine the stuff that they would have together? And divine feminine is not looking for that materialistic stuff, because that's not what's important to her. What's important to her is love and peace and stability and foundation, connection. And when you're with divine feminine, it should only be about divine feminine, because divine feminine's only going to make it about divine masculine. She is. She's only going to put divine masculine even before herself. She will. And she's done this so many times, putting herself on the back burner for everything else and everyone else. Now she's at the point where she's not doing this anymore. And if there is a divine masculine ascended master checking her out at any point, you're not doing anything. She's still just going to stand there and look at you just like you're looking at her, but she's not going to give you the idea that you can approach her. You're just going to have to approach her and see what happens, divine masculine, but you don't want to do that. Sometimes I feel like as strong as men like to make themselves out to be, they seem a little bit of like a coward because they are intimidated by this particular divine feminine. They won't approach her. They seeing the divine masculine is looking at divine feminine, and I feel like he is. I feel like he is watching her. He is. But he's looking at her like, because she's so naturally beautiful, that she must be getting all this attention. And even if she's getting all this attention, she's not entertaining it. She doesn't get phone numbers, and if she ever gets a phone number, it's quick to say, ah, and then she might speak to the person just a little bit. She didn't go on a date with this person. She's not doing anything with this person except for a small conversation, and that on the other end, they quickly show that it's not worth her time, so she'll even block a phone number if she has to. She doesn't care. She cares, but she doesn't care about that other crap. She cares about what's right for her and her peace. And she wants to be loved, and she wants to be a priority. And if she's not going to get it from anyone, she's giving it to herself, and she's putting herself first, and she's not going to run behind nobody and chase nobody anymore. She's not going to do this anymore. She's done this many, many times, and it's gotten her what? So she's going to make divine masculine prove himself. She may know, she may understand, but she's not going to go chasing after him. She's not. She's just not going to do it. She's got other things she's focused on, and it's herself. It's her stability. It's her peace of mind. Stuff she's never gotten. And she's going to get it. And she doesn't care who looks at her and this other. You can think whatever you want to think about divine feminine. She's going to do what she's got to do regardless. She's been doing it. And I don't want to say broken, because I don't feel like divine feminine's broken, but she's broken. I don't know how else to say it. She doesn't trust. She's giving people the benefit of the doubt, but they show red flags, and you're like, I'm sorry I gave you the benefit of the doubt, but I'm just glad I'm realizing this now and seeing a red flag and know when to cut that off. Whereas beforehand, divine feminine would see a red flag and not cut it off. So there's another red flag, but then she'd still not cut it off. There's another flag. She still didn't cut it off. There's another flag, but she still didn't cut it off. Today, one red flag. And even if it remotely looks like a red flag, she cuts it off. Don't hesitate toward the divine feminine. She's not going to look at you like this. You're not supposed to doubt this. You should. This divine masculine should not be doubting his divine feminine. He should know. There should be no questions. He shouldn't be worried about whether he goes and approaches divine feminine and she's going to tell him no. Or if I approach divine feminine and anything happens, is she going to mess around on me? Is she going to be flirty? And if you watching her from afar, divine masculine, you would already know she's not that type of person. Why? Because she's nice. She's not chasing after anybody. I mean, you're watching her. What is divine feminine supposed to do when someone approaches her right off the bat? Say, "Get away from me!" She's not going to do that. That's not who she is. But that doesn't mean she's just going to... She's not. But the divine masculine is going to have to prove his point. He's going to have to prove himself. Divine feminine would walk on fire, walk through fire, and put up with a lot of stuff for her divine masculine, but he has to do the same for her. And she's just not going out with it like that. She's not putting her heart on her sleeve in that way. And so if divine masculine, which I feel like he is, watching her in some sort of way, divine masculine is watching her, he should see. He's clearly watching her. And at no point has, since his eyes have been on her, has she done anything to give him this idea that she's somebody that he has to not be able to trust. He should know he can trust her. She's not going to do to him whatever he might have been through in his past. Because clearly divine masculine's got his trust issues and has been through his heartache, which is why he's hesitant. He's not approaching her because he's looking from afar, trying to see, and still trying to get divine feminine to show him that it's okay. And she's not going to do that. She's not. Because even if she thinks she might be divine masculine, she's still got a little bit of a distrust. And the only way you can prove to yourself that you are who you are is to do what you are supposed to do when it comes to her. You have to gain her trust like that. It's not that she wouldn't trust you if you gave her what she deserved, and if she didn't have anything to worry about, because divine masculine is going to have to put in some work for this divine feminine. It's going to be, because even though divine feminine's going to feel it, she's still going to be a little hesitant on it. She is, because she's had so many energies come toward her pretending to be something that they're not. You know, she might have thought she had a divine connection at some point in her past, which is what brought her to the where she's at with her enlightenment, and why she doesn't go to relationships the way she used to. Because she could have thought she had that divine connection and then found out that that wasn't the case. So now she's a little more hesitant. Now she wants to see things differently. And instead of her moving toward him, he's going to have to move toward her. And he's going to have to prove himself. He's going to have to fight for her. He's going to have to protect her. He's going to have to be the divine masculine he needs to be for her. And then she will be the divine feminine for him. She will. They need to stop doubting divine feminine. That's the problem. She's feeling this from him, or his energy, because deep down divine feminine knows. She's just not going out with it because it's made her look like the dumb before, and she's not. She knows that the divine is within us all. It could be a female, it could be a male. We all have divine energy. And divine feminine gets that. So when someone's coming to you with kind of that divine energy, you're going to look at it. Divine feminine's going to look at it. She's like, huh, well, you don't seem as toxic as most people. But then at some point, their toxic traits start coming out because they're trying to mimic you, divine feminine. And divine feminine gets that. So when they come toward her with this divine type energy, she wants to simmer it. She wants to let it, because she knows it's going to take a minute for people's true colors to come out. And that's what I'm saying about divine masculine. He's been watching her. When has her true colors approached you at any point, divine masculine? And maybe this masculine has seen a side of the divine feminine that makes him think, oh, well, she might be a bitch. But that's not the case. You're not You're not a bitch, divine feminine. You're not. But you can be if you have to be. You're not going to put up with the bull. You're not going to do it. You're just not going to do it. And if he's looking at you like that, then he's not divine masculine for you, divine feminine. He's not. He wouldn't be looking at you like you're the problem, and that's kind of what I feel like he's doing. Don't look at divine feminine like she's the problem, because she just told, and she ain't saying it to you, she told it to someone else that might have been in that area, and you happen to notice what she said. Go fuck yourself. And he's like, whoa, I don't know about her attitude. But you don't know what they just did to her to make her say that. She didn't just go around telling people to go F themselves. She's not doing that. She's in this type of energy because this is what energy comes toward her. Disrespect, inconsiderate, entitled people. Y'all know this. Let's say, for example, I'm going to use me as an example. In a restaurant, you got customers that come in, and me, in this particular situation, my time in my position in this particular moment, I'm at the host stand, and a customer will come in and they want a particular table, and they think they have the right to decide where they want to sit at. Well, we have servers that get rotation, and that one just got sat 2 tables. Now you want me to sit you there anyway. And then they get sat there, and I tell them they have to be patient with it, and they're not. So they're going to stiff the server. Really? Maybe you should get off your high horse and go sit at the table I asked you to sit at, because then you would have got served. Then you wouldn't have been in a grouchy mood because you wanted to choose where the heck you got to sit at. You can't just be happy to sit at the table and eat your food and get out the restaurant. No, and then you want to give the server a hard time because she's not on time with you. That's pretty messed up. And I'm like, I told you so. And they're like, why you got attitude? Well, I tried to tell you. Well, you don't have to be such a bitch about it. Well, no, you're being a bitch about it. And I'm telling you how you being because of the situation, and now I'm the asshole? Sorry about the potty mouth, y'all. That's what happens when my passion gets away from me. That's what happens when I feel that negative energy, and I can't help it. I'm not going to sit... I'm a divine feminine, just like you, divine feminine, okay? We're kind of in the same boat here. We're kind of alike. I resonate with divine feminine and Ascended Masters so much. I feel like, that's... and I'm trying not to get aggressive with it, but this is the energy that these people come toward divine feminine with. And when divine feminine raises her eyebrow, they're looking at you and they give you more negative energy. Like, you came at me with this whole grumpy attitude and you expect me to be peace, love, and light the whole time? No, I'm about to light your house on fire. That's just the way it's going to be. But that being said, that's how divine masculine should know. That divine feminine's going to fight for anything. She going to fight. She going to fight. She going to fight for you. And she gonna fight if she has to. She ain't going around putting her hands on nobody. But she's not gonna take disrespect. And if she's got a divine masculine in this, she gonna stand up for him too. She gonna protect him just like he should be protecting her. She's gonna give him the same energy back. But he's not doing that. Divine feminine's over here protecting herself, standing up for herself. She's doing this on her own. She don't have no one around. And she's doing it by herself. And she's fighting. And I say fighting, but she's not using her fist fighting. She's not fighting like this. It's a different kind of fight. And that's what a lot of people on this planet do not do. They want to go at you and fight with their fists. You're not doing that. That's why you got a mouth. And you use your words, and you're giving them the energy back, but that doesn't mean you're going to go and put hands on nobody. Now, if they come to you like that, you just have to see what happens, because divine feminine doesn't give up, and she doesn't back down. She might have used to do things like this, but she's not doing it no more. And whether you like her or not, she's still going to do what she's going to do. She doesn't care. She doesn't care how you feel about it. If you were doing what you were supposed to do, Divine Feminine would not be treating you the way she's treating you. She wouldn't be. So, a lot of people on this planet need to get themselves a reality check and understand that they're not entitled, that they are not the only person living on the planet, that there's many people on this planet, and when you walk into a building somewhere, you don't expect to just get anything you want out of it. You have to understand that you are not the only one here. And Divine Feminine is willing to understand that. She's been doing this for a long time. She gets it. She's not looking at people in this hateful energy. She's not. She don't look at anybody in a hateful energy, but she does, start putting walls up to particular people, and then she'll be happy-go-lucky over here, and then that person who keeps disrespecting her, when she comes back over here to this person, she's like, put the brakes on. You've gone far enough. You don't get to come any closer. You had the door open for a moment. We could have been great friends, but you chose to be an asshole and act like you are Miss Perfect. Divine Feminine gets that she's not perfect, but she's going to be who she is, and she doesn't have to jump through hoops. She's just naturally doing it. She's not trying to impress anybody. Even if Divine Feminine is like going into work and she's like, I don't really feel like doing this. When she gets to work and she's like, well, I overwork myself, and I'm not going to overwork myself, she's still going to do her job, and she tends to overdo it just a little bit, even still today. But she still has, and even with me resonating with a lot of this divine feminine energy, I still have a hard time explaining it. I still have a hard time understanding it. It's divine, and it's just some things we don't get to understand. It's just some things we don't get to know. And Divine Feminine is okay with those things. But she wants to be able to trust at least one person besides herself. And at some point, and can I say that it'll happen for you, Divine Feminine? I don't know. I might be an intuitive person, but I'm not psychic, and I don't think anybody can sit there and say that they are psychic to be able to tell you that this is guaranteed fact. I don't think that that's possible, and if they're telling you this, chances are it's not the case. It's not the case. Do you know how infinite the universe is out there? Yeah, there's just things that we don't know about. I mean, we're on this planet, and there's still things in the ocean we still don't even know about. Things underneath the ice we still don't know about. Do you think we're gallivanting out there in space and figuring that out? But that's what they're doing. And Divine Feminine gets at that. It's like, wait, you're right. Why are we out there floating around in space trying to figure that out when we still don't know half the stuff going around on this planet here? Let's figure that out first before we try to explore space. And some things just don't make sense. Some things we just won't have answers to. Some things are just more intelligent than we are. Y'all, my earbud just keeps falling out. I don't know what's up with these things, but they never stay in my ear. It's time for some new ones, some right ones. They were cheap, y'all. That's another thing about Divine Feminine. She don't care about having, the most expensive. She don't care. Hey, it works. That's not my problem. You have some problem with it. You need all that high dollar stuff in order to be happy in life. Divine Feminine don't need that. She might have thought at one point she did need it, but she's realized it's not what makes you happy. And she's going to do what makes her happy, and that's the best part about Divine Feminine. She doesn't give up, and she won't give up. And I want to bring out more of a But I feel like Divine Feminine doesn't want me to give that out. So I might just go ahead and leave this video where it lays. And Divine Feminine is definitely on the right path. I know it may not look this way, Divine Feminine, but you are so on the right path. You are. And you no matter what your situation is, you still got that positive. And maybe for some Divine Feminine, maybe she's thinking, am I in the wrong spot? Have I gone in the wrong direction? She might be having some sort of doubt here. And it's not because you don't believe in certain things. It's because of what you've been through. And I don't feel like you give yourself enough credit to understand how powerful you really are. And what you've been through. And how you just keep pushing forward. And you still wear a smile on your face. You still get up and face the day every day. You still lay down at night and sleep with a clear conscience and knowing that you're not out there with an evil intent messing over anybody. You can sleep at night with a clear conscience. You walk around with a clear conscience. You don't have guilt in your heart. You don't have guilt in your brain. The only thing you might have a little guilt and remorse about are the steps and decisions you made throughout your life. As far as what was done to other people, you don't have that because you've never done anything like that. You have a very clear conscience. You didn't do anything to anyone. And anything you might have said or done in any kind of way like that, it was in reaction to what they were saying or doing. You didn't ever go at anybody. And even in those moments when you might have responded to what they said, you didn't retaliate on them. You just responded and walked away. You didn't react in it. You said what you had to say, and you walked away. And then sometimes you'll let them back in, and then they'll do it all over again. So you'll and sometimes not even say nothing, you just walk away. And then they'll come back in, but they never give you an apology. They never admit to what they done wrong. And you're still got your wheels spinning on, well, if you're not going to admit what you did wrong, why are we still talking? Because I know what happened. And I know why I turned my back. I know why I walked away. But now you're going to come at me and sit here and say, I know we have our differences, blah, blah, blah. No, we don't have our differences. You have an asshole vibe about you that you should have never disrespected me, and you know what you did. And I don't have to tell you what you did. You know. And if instead of coming back and being adult about it, and being divine about it, and admitting what you did wrong, you want to sit there and paint this picture like you didn't do anything wrong, and she's supposed to come back into it and be okay with it, and without ever getting that. So Divine Feminine doesn't accept those kind of things no more, and if you come back toward her, knowing you're coming back toward her, Divine Feminine ain't coming to you. You coming to her, and then you want to deny, or just like sweep it under the rug and wonder if she remembers what happened. Like she's delusional. And this has never been the case. Divine Feminine doesn't forget. She's like an elephant. Lead her to water, she'll never forget. This is Divine Feminine, Ascended Master. She might not tell you what she sees, but she sees it. And then until you come and make right by Divine Feminine, good luck with that karma. And that's the only way that on that other end they're going to get what they're coming. The Divine Feminine isn't going out and giving this back to you. The universe is giving it back to you. You're giving it back to you. You're doing this to yourself. You're looking at her like she's doing you something wrong. She's not. She's moving on in life. She doesn't even hardly think twice about you most days. She probably ain't thought about you in quite some time until you sent her some sort of bullshit message trying to pretend just so you can figure out what's going on with Divine Feminine because you're nosy and want to try to get other people to believe that you did anything right by her. You ain't did nothing. You ain't helped her out. You can say it, paint it however you want to paint it. Divine Feminine knows better, you know better, and so does the universe. So, take your karma and leave her alone. Let her go. You can't come to her right and come to her correct. Don't come to her at all. You just deal with your own karma. Because that's what Divine Feminine does. I'm going to go ahead and shut this reading out, y'all. It's almost an hour long, and I don't want to get too personal in Divine Feminine's, you know, because I feel like I haven't been given that permission. I don't want to just start airing out all kinds of, you know, unnecessary dirty laundry on Divine Feminine when it's not necessary. Divine Feminine's heart is, and I want to say a deep ocean, but it's a deep universe. She's deep. And if loved right, it would look like magic, y'all. 5555. 5555 was the time when I said that. Divine Feminine, when she's happy and loved right, she'll move mountains and she'll make things happen. She doesn't give up, and she will fight for what she loves. She doesn't just walk away from things. Even today, this is why she's not keeping that attachment toward people. Like, she doesn't go right in and have that attachment. She used to. She used to dive right into things head first and crack her head wide open. But that veil has been lifted, y'all. I don't even know where this earbud just went. Alright, y'all, I'm gonna go ahead and get off this video. I hope this reading did help my Divine Feminine Ascended Masters. I really do appreciate you, ladies. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And do like this video if you are Divine Feminine Ascended Master. Yes, baby. They cannot hold a candle to you. They can try to mimic you, baby girl, but you know better than that. You know better than that. You know better than that, my precious, my precious, my precious. Alright, peace, love, and light. Without lighting houses on fire. Don't do that, Divine Feminine. You beautiful, beautiful. I love you. I don't know, y'all. Alright, peace, love, and light. Namaste.